In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to create a totals query and how to use the totals row in either a query or a table. And these are two different items, so we want to be sure that we understand the difference between the two. So for a totals query, it makes the most sense when you are including fields that you are going to have repetition and that you're going to group by. So for this example, I'm going to include from my orders table the order ID, the freight field, and the country. And so what I'm looking for is I'm looking for some aggregated or totaled information based on what countries we're shipping our products to. If I look at the datasheet view of this query right now, I have 811 records and I have repetition in the country field. So usually we will have a field where we have repetition, and that's going to be the field that we group by. To turn this into a totals query, I go up on the ribbon. So I'm on the Design tab on the ribbon, and I click the Totals button, and it adds the totals row down below. Now if I leave all three of these as group by, and I view the query, I still just have all my unique individual rows of data. Okay, the order ID is a unique identifier. So there's no repetition, and if I group by that, I will always have groupings of 1. And so I'll always see all my data. So instead of grouping by the order ID field, I want to group by country. In the order ID field, I'm going to count the number of orders going to each country. And in the freight field, I'm going to calculate the average cost of the freight. So I'm grouping by a field that has repetition and then doing something else in the other fields. If I view this query now, I can see that I've got $21 countries that I'm shipping to. Looks like I'm shipping the most orders to the USA and to Germany because it's counting the number of orders and it's showing the average cost of freight. So now I'm getting some more quantifiable information about the countries that I'm shipping to. Now, anytime you're in datasheet view, whether it's in a query or a table, there's a totals button on the home tab and ribbon as well. And this button adds the totals row to the query or table. So then you can choose some of these similar functions. So if I wanted to see my highest value in terms of freight, I could choose maximum, and that maybe tells me where it's costing me the most to sell my products to. Or if I wanted to see, the overall average of the average, I can choose the average function here. For text fields, we generally can just use the count function in the totals row, and it just counts the number of items that are there. So this is the totals row, and when I go back to the design of my query, the button on the Design tab makes it a totals query, which adds this element.